It was a day of diplomacy and dialogue in Tokyo. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, US President Joe Biden, the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and the new Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese meeting for the high-stakes second in-person Quad summit in Tokyo. The agenda was simple: a free and open Indo-Pacific. A joint statement by the four countries avoided mentioning China directly, but there were no doubts about what their concerns were. Instead, it listed the range of activities Beijing has been accused of in the region, including sorties, naval exercises, and encroachments by the Chinese fishing vessels. Tuesday's meeting saw some new faces, including the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, who took office just last October, as well as the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Albanese attended the summit just a day after he was sworn in. According to officials present at the summit, India was praised highly for its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and the vaccines that New Delhi supplied to the world. The leaders also launched a maritime security partnership. This will allow the member countries to monitor illegal fishing and track dark shipping. The Quad is essentially an alliance of democracies upholding common values. All the four members have significant economic clout. They also have the world's most powerful militaries, and they have a common adversary in China. But what the Quad struggled with is defining its purpose. Is it a union of democracy? Is it an Asian NATO or an anti-China alliance? The Quad is 17 years old now, but since its inception, it has maintained multiple identities. In fact, it remained dormant for years until the China threat pushed the allies to come together. And this made this second in-person summit even more crucial. The Quad needs to define its purpose, and India is a major driving force here.
31st Prime Minister of our time, including climate change and the security of our region. My government is committed to working with your countries.
And Japan says Chinese and Russian fighter jets carried out joint flights near the country as the Quad leaders met in Tokyo. The planes did not breach territorial airspace, but the move has been called provocative by Japan. Our managing editor Palki Sharma Upadhyay bringing us this detailed report from Tokyo.
The Japanese certainly have called it a provocation and quote-unquote unacceptable. That's how Japan has put it. They have condemned this joint exercise. First, let me share with our viewers the details of what we know. This was a 13-hour-long air patrol in the Indo-Pacific. Russian Tu-95 strategic missile carriers and Chinese Hun-6K strategic bombers conducted these patrols along with the Russian Su-30s missiles. So this was a 13-hour operation. They flew over the Sea of Japan. And this is something that American and Japanese officials have confirmed to the press. Japan's defense minister has since spoken about it, Nobuo Kishi, and he has expressed quote-unquote grave concerns over these flights. This is being seen as a provocation, and rightly so, I think. But this is also posturing on the part of Beijing and Moscow, because both these countries felt that they were the targets of this meeting. And that puts India in a bit of a tricky situation, because India's relationship with Russia is complex. It's old. Russia remains a strategic partner. And very interestingly, this morning, one of the local papers had an opinion piece that said that the world should understand that they should not see India as an ally. They should only see India as a partner, because India very fiercely guards its non-aligned status. So India has been able to set the record straight on where it stands on all these issues. But certainly this air patrol does make the day more dramatic, should I say, and the Japanese certainly not very happy, and the statements are still pouring in on how they've responded to this.
And with us on the broadcast this minute is Manjeet Kripalani, Executive Director at the Gateway House, joining us live on the broadcast from Mumbai. Thanks very much for being here with us. Good to have you. What is your assessment of the key takeaways coming in from the Quad meeting? What do you think is the message that comes out from the grouping today?
Thank you very much for having me. I think that one should not underestimate the Quad. The world was looking for a new grouping that was more aligned with the way the world was changing. And the Quad itself has everything. It has technology, it has supply chains, it's looking at healthcare, which is post-pandemic, a new era of cooperation. And economically, the world has also changed tremendously. So I think the key takeaway, Joe Biden said that, you know, the Quad is not a fad and it's just not passing through the night. It is really to be taken seriously. And I think that it should. This could be it could end up being a really good new multilateral. And importantly, it's got 3 developed countries, 1 developing country, and India is in on the ground floor. So if nobody else, at least India should take it extremely seriously, because we can build on this as a partnership where we can be an equal. We have a lot to bring to the table. We have a market where new products can be tested. We have a market for new innovations. These are countries that, especially Japan, which is aging, Australia is a small population country, they have a lot of technology. The United States is looking for new partners, given the fact that it has now kind of declared a war with Russia and is also declared China to be a rival. So my key takeaways is that the Quad is becoming more serious every day.
Right. What do you make of the fact that Russian and Chinese fighter jets carried out joint flights near Japan as the Quad leaders met in Tokyo?
Well, we should not forget, that Japan has sanctioned Russia. It hasn't merely followed the United States, because we must remember that in 1905, Japan, the Asian power, inflicted a crushing defeat on the Russian Navy. It was the first time ever through colonial times that an Asian power had defeated a European power. So the Japan-Russia rivalry is long. It's almost more than a century old. And so it is for Russia to join with China, which is China is in the mode of threatening people and saying Taiwan, as we know, and Japan, which it has long been threatening. And so now it has a partner. And if Japan hadn't sanctioned Russia, maybe it would have been different. China would have done it alone, but the 2 countries have. So there is rivalry. It is historical rivalry. And unfortunately, that Europe is locked into now historical rivalries that they're trying to right. We hope that India is not going to fall into this trap, and that we have a bright future ahead of us. We're entering trade regimes right now, and so we don't want to be involved in it. You mentioned earlier, and Palki did too, that India should be looked upon as a partner rather than an ally, and I think that is the right road to take.
Manjeet Kriplani, thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast with those perspectives.
Thank you.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.